Bachelor Grant Ellis reveals celibacy before fantasy suites. March 7, 2025. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Bachelor Nation News. Bachelor Grant Ellis is down to his final 3 women on his season. He sent home Dina Lupancu after their hometown date. So now Grant is left with Zoe McGrady, Lygia Gurr, and Juliana Pasquarosa. These 3 ladies and Grant will head to the Dominican Republic for fantasy suite dates and the final rose ceremony. Ahead of fantasy suites, Ellis stopped by the Viall Files to chat with Nick Viall and Natalie Joy. He shared some interesting information that included celibacy. What did he say? Keep reading to get the scoop. Grant Ellis talks about fantasy suites with Nick Viall. Bachelor Grant Ellis spoke on the Viall Files with Nick Viall about his upcoming fantasy suite dates. Overall, he thinks everything went great. He said, "Fantasy suites is really tricky, but I think I handled myself very well. There were a lot of kisses, but I do feel like in fantasy suites, I really reserve myself. Because when you get physical intimacy involved, that changes things." Grant continued to explain by saying that going into the dates, there could be red flags, but if he gets intimate with someone, it could smooth things over, so to speak. It could make everything seem okay when really the red flags are still there. So Grant says he tried to be responsible in those 3 situations. When Nick asked him if he went into the dates with boundaries already set, he said he didn't. He revealed that intimacy was not off the table, but he was only willing to do it if he knew it was the one he was going to choose at the end. He went on to say at that point he wasn't sure who would be the final rose winner. However, when prodded a little more by Nick, Grant joked that he didn't say for sure whether there was intimacy or not. He also shared that it didn't mean he didn't do other things. He spoke about the pressure he felt. Grant Ellis also spoke on the pressures he felt as the second Black man in the franchise to have the leading role. He didn't want to fall into a stereotype and have others thinking he was a player. He went into the process with true intent. Grant said, "And prior to that, I had been celibate for a year. So I got out of a 7-year relationship, and I was hurting. You know, sex is great, but I wanted to make sure it was with somebody who was my person. And then we can all the time." He laughed as he said the last part. Overall, Grant said he tried to lead with love throughout his entire journey as the Bachelor. He shared that he wanted to be sure and listen to each of the women because he truly did care about each of them. At first, he felt like he had pressure to pick someone who the public wanted him to pick. However, in the end, he knew it all came down to who would fit better into his life, and it didn't really matter what everyone else thought. He was doing this for himself, not anyone else. What do you think about the fantasy suite revelations Grant made on Nick's podcast? Stay tuned for more updates on all your Bachelor Nation favorites. Shocking confession. Grant Ellis reveals celibacy before fantasy suites. Fans react. Grant Ellis, the heartthrob of this season's The Bachelorette, has stunned Bachelor Nation with a confession that no one saw coming. Just days before the highly anticipated fantasy suite dates, Grant shocked fans, his fellow contestants, and even producers by revealing that he has remained celibate for the past 2 years, and he intends to uphold his commitment, even in the fantasy suites. The unexpected bombshell. Throughout the season, Grant has been a fan favorite, capturing hearts with his charm, emotional depth, and undeniable chemistry with the Bachelorette. But just when fans thought they had him figured out, he dropped a revelation that changed everything. In a candid heart-to-heart with the show's lead, Grant admitted, "This isn't something I take lightly. I've made a choice to focus on emotional connections over physical ones, and that's a promise I've kept to myself." For many viewers, the fantasy suite is a defining moment, a chance for the final contestants to connect on a deeper level away from the cameras. But Grant's decision to remain celibate added a new layer of complexity, sparking conversations across social media. Mixed reactions from fans and contestants. Bachelor Nation was divided. While some fans praised Grant for his commitment to his values, others questioned whether his revelation was a strategic move to set himself apart. "Wow, I really respect Grant for standing by his beliefs. This just makes him even more attractive," one fan tweeted. Meanwhile, others weren't convinced. Is this a genuine decision, or is he trying to boost his Bachelor candidacy? A skeptic wrote. Inside the mansion, reactions among the other contestants were just as mixed. Some of the men saw Grant's confession as a bold and admirable move, while others worried it might put him at a disadvantage. "The fantasy suite is where you figure out if there's real chemistry," one contestant said during a confessional. "If he's closing that door, is he really giving the Bachelorette everything?" How the Bachelorette responded. Perhaps the most important reaction was from the leading lady herself. Sources close to production revealed that the Bachelorette was caught off guard, but ultimately respected Grant's decision. During their intimate dinner date, she expressed her admiration for his honesty, telling him, "I appreciate you trusting me with this part of yourself. I want you to feel safe in this relationship, no matter what happens." Despite her understanding response, insiders say the confession left her with lingering doubts. Would this affect their long-term compatibility? Could she see herself with someone who viewed intimacy in such a different way? Behind-the-scenes drama. While Grant's confession played out on screen, production insiders revealed that it created a frenzy behind the scenes. Showrunners scrambled to determine how to handle the situation, as the fantasy suites are one of the most watched episodes of the season. A producer anonymously shared, "We've never had a contestant make this kind of decision at this stage. It's rare, and we had to rethink how we would frame the narrative." Some crew members reportedly felt the revelation could damage Grant's chances of winning, while others saw it as a move that made him even more of a frontrunner. Would he be seen as a serious contender for the final rose, or would this decision push him out of the running? The overnight dates. What happened? As the Fantasy Suites episode aired, fans were glued to their screens, waiting to see how the overnight dates would unfold. In a surprising twist, the Bachelorette and Grant still chose to spend the night together, albeit in a non-traditional way. Instead of a romantic evening fueled by passion, they spent hours deep in conversation, discussing their values, dreams, and long-term goals. "It was actually one of the most intimate nights I've ever had, even without the physical part," Grant later revealed in an interview. "It proved that true connection goes beyond just physicality." What's next for Grant Ellis? With the finale approaching, speculation is at an all-time high. Will Grant's commitment to celibacy ultimately strengthen his connection with the Bachelorette, or will it be the reason she chooses someone else? As rumors swirl about the final rose ceremony, one thing is clear: Grant's journey has been anything but predictable. Whether he wins or not, his story has sparked a broader conversation about love, intimacy, and personal boundaries within Bachelor Nation. And with fans already buzzing about a potential Bachelor season starring Grant, could his shocking confession actually be his ticket to headlining the next installment of the franchise? Only time will tell.